plural, right? And it means friend or love of honor. Philotimo. It comes from the Greek word philotimi, which means friend, or depending on contextual, love of honor. I grew up in church my whole entire life, born and raised. And I thought I had believed that the only thing important was being saved, as Western theology would teach us. To get people in the church, to be saved, saved. And yet I often wondered and felt there was so much more to that. And I always questioned, why do we act a certain way? Why do we do certain things? And what exactly is the focus of doing good unto others? And what are the reasons? And yet the true answer always seemed to avoid me. We look at the word love, and we can see how, yes, we do love others, but be selfish at the same time? That doesn't make sense to me. How we show love to our friends, but chastise our neighbors or the person we don't like or agree with, that doesn't work. How does that work? Why am I able to show love yet be so terrible at the same time? Beats me. So I sat down with my Greek friend Tom, and he told me about Philotimo. Now, Philotimo isn't any one thing. It's actually a culmination of virtues: kindness, love, compassion, honesty, integrity, morals, ethics, forbearance. It's a whole, picture Philotimo as a whole bag of virtues that you have. And how do we measure the good in others and ourselves? One answer: Philotimo. Now, before I get into anything deep, sometimes when we do a self-reflection, we always give ourselves the benefit of the doubt, more than the truth or really reality permits. If someone were to come up to you and ask you about your own life, more than likely we would say all of the good things and not say anything about the bad stuff, right? Our ego will always defend itself from those truths, which doesn't agree with. Now, this is very evident when we consider our own intent and beliefs. Throughout our lives, we are groomed to judge others, not just on action or deed, but on things that shouldn't even matter when it comes to engaging whether or not we should connect with others, such as skin color, job, financial status, what car they drive, etc. We don't even realize that we are doing that. But when we are judging others in the bad way, we aren't using Philotimo as how it should be. We are only seeking superficial reasons to either connect or disconnect for others and validate our own crap. We have to remember that Philotimo isn't about social status, it isn't about financial status, it is not whether or not a person is of a different background, race. It's about virtues. It's about being the best version of yourself, to be loving and kind in all things, to have honor, integrity, forbearance, kindness, compassion, love, understanding, peace, etc. I could go on. It is all of those things in one. The ultimate result of having Philotimo is that you no longer think of yourself. Your own being and thoughts don't exist at this point. That your entire being is focused and filled to love and give and help the world around you in all aspects of our life. That judgment does not exist in the manner that we think of. Yes, we will be held for our choices we make. Nothing is free. Someone pays for something. But how do you want to pay? Now, paying isn't always bad. It's like we pay sometimes to go to see an opera. You know, we make an investment because we know that that's what we're gonna get something great out of that, and that's a choice. Or we could make bad choices. We could not take care of our car and have it break down. We could not save our money, and when emergencies happen, we pay the price for those choices. Now, paying isn't always a bad thing. It's not always a good thing. It's a reality of life. If you want the world to give back to you, you have to put in. Even Jesus talks about it. You reap what you sow. If you plant a peach tree, what do you get? Peaches. You can't plant a peach tree and expect to get almonds. Doesn't quite, I mean, you could maybe pray, oh my gosh, please, no, it's the reality is that's what happens. If you want the world to give back to you the many blessings and be poured with prosperity and love and kindness and generosity, if we want to experience those things, we have to be the ones who put that out there ourselves. Giving to others, helping those in need and those around you, that's where the blessings come. It's being present in the moment and loving others without the ego, without judgment, without thinking, well, I'll help them today and then maybe not tomorrow or whenever I feel like it. It's becoming to that higher vibration to where it's a part of who you are. You don't even think about it anymore. When your neighbor, when your friend comes into your house, the level of Philotimo measures how do you feed them when they're there? Do you give them water when they're thirsty? Do you recognize the need? Do they need clothes? What can I help you with? This is the mindset of a person who has Philotimo. Philotimo keeps us in check and helps us seek the highest vibration we can attain, not by feeling things that are detrimental to our livelihood, but being present in our thoughts, our actions, our deeds, and how we treat others. This is not really something easy to do. In the Bible, Paul talks about he dies daily. What he's not talking about a physical death, he's talking about his ego and selfish desires. That I will discard this thing and have Philotimo to love others. And we can find evidence of Philotimo when we look at the Beatitudes and Psalms. Love is kind. Love doesn't boast. Love gives, etc. Without love, it doesn't matter what you do. If you do not have Philotimo and love in your heart, it doesn't matter. You could have $1 million. You could give millions of dollars to charity, but if it's not with love, it means nothing because it's not genuine. It's selfish. Our actions and our deeds determine the level of love or the level of Philotimo we have. Do we give just because it's fun? Or do we give because we have a selfish intent behind it? I'm only going to give to you if you give me something back. I'm only going to help you if I get something out of it. What kind of life is that? A life of selfish expectancy brings chaos. And Philotimo grounds us. It keeps us balanced in all things in our life, in our spiritual life, in our financial life, in our physical life. So often when we help, or so-called helping others, we're doing it selfishly, and sometimes you don't even know that we're doing it. I'll only help if you do so-and-so. I'll only step in if it's easy or manageable or a last resort. This is very selfish, and acting in this way shows very little Philotimo. And a good example, I want to share a personal thing with me. Back in 2017, I had moved back into, my parents had sold the place. My dad's health was getting very severe, and they had to move to Minnesota to be close to the Mayo Clinic. And he was put on an experimental drug that prolonged his life 4 years. So I moved to Chico, and I moved in with these two gentlemen. One of them was a drug user. I did not know. I had no knowledge. And I was accused. And then I was kicked out the next day, living on the street. Boy, was that hard. Come Christmas Day, I'm in the park, just me and two friends, no one else, not a soul. There was no one else around, everything, it was Christmas Day, everybody's with their family, and here I am alone in my car, and I'm crying because I didn't feel God around, I felt nobody, I felt completely just devastated. And I said, God, man, did you forget about me? Do I even exist? Am I just floating around here? And the awesome example of Philotimo happened right then and there. This truck pulled up. Wonderful Mexican family came out and they gave us, me and our friends, a burrito. Did they know we were there? No. And they also gave us a bag, and I was cold, and the bag had a hat, it had gloves, it had socks, it had a scarf, and little candies in the bag. I cried even more. I was like, oh my gosh, you didn't forget about me. Oh my, what a blessing. And I remember that very day, on the lowest part of my life, someone reached out and acted with kindness. Didn't say, I'm only going to give you food if you come to church. I'm only going to help you if you do this for me. Wasn't any of that. They just, here you go. Many blessings to you. And that forever changed my life and my perspective on things. To be validated as a human being. When all seems lost, like in the story of Job, when Job had everything taken away, his dignity, his possessions, everything around him was gone. And yet he still persevered, stayed true. And it's very impactful for me. It makes me want to cry, but I'm not going to do that today because I'm fighting against being a basket case. Now that we know what Philotimo looks like, let's ask ourselves this question. How do I find out the level of Philotimo? How do I help others without enabling? How do I help others just to help? How do I help others without being a stumbling block? Answer is again, be a good person. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of what's going on around you. We talk about raising our consciousness and our awareness. The more aware and higher level of vibration we have, the more Philotimo we have. Very simple. The more you seek the good and seek the highest good in others, the more they seek the good and highest in you. When we reduce our interactions and reduce our involvement due to selfish reasons, we are only diminishing ourselves and our effectiveness of love in others. Life isn't always black and white. Life isn't always the greatest thing. We know personally that life happens for everybody in all regards. And so often we do run into situations where it does question our very core values. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. This is where ethics comes in. And this is where it's sometimes hard to make the choice, even though maybe both choices are wrong, but one of them is better than the other. Imagine a person, a friend of yours, gets in a very severe car accident and is considered legally brain dead. And as much as our family wants, we want them to keep them alive because we don't want our loved ones to be gone. But is that person still there? They're not responding, they don't respond to anything, they're just on a ventilator. But how do we make that decision? How do we make those choices? If we keep them alive, are we selfish on our own desires because we want them to stay, because we want to have them to be with us longer, but keeping them, maybe they are in excruciating pain being alive. How do we make those choices? Philotimo helps us make those choices. because it seeks the common ground. And yes, as much as I would love, and this is not, and there's no, in this essence, there's no really right or wrong choice. It's the choice we have to make personally for ourselves. But Philotimo would have us, as much as I would love my friend to be there, I have to let go and have acceptance and peace and understanding. To me, it's cruel to keep people alive when they're excruciating pain. For our own self, it's just to look at them. Just to, I don't know, I'm gonna cry again, I'm not doing that. Nice try. Okay. There's so many things that happen in our life that it's sometimes hard. Not all life decisions are black and white. Not all life decisions are easy. Some are very difficult to make. But I know one thing. Having Philotimo brings us peace, brings us understanding, brings us kindness. Philotimo is not a surface level idea. This isn't something that you can toy with on a day and, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? If we want to raise our awareness, if we want to serve God fully, we have to have Philotimo, 100%. We can't pick and choose what virtues we want and discard the rest. To serve the Great Spirit, to serve others, we have to be selfless. Jesus was that. He walked around, he helped so many people, didn't command them he gave them a choice for their own choosing to follow, their own choosing to love. His greatest commandment, love your neighbor as I have loved you. Your neighbor isn't just your friend, isn't just the person you know, it's every person that you come in contact with. Philotimo, it's intrinsic in every fiber of our being. It's also in our subconscious. Philotimo defines who we are. How would you want someone if someone were to ask you, who do you think about this person? What would you want them to say? That guy's in beep. No, I don't think we want that, right? We want someone to say, oh, he's such a wonderful person. He's kind, loving, and caring. We wouldn't want someone to say, well, that guy's a jerk. So Philotimo, and the act of Philotimo in giving, shapes us, helps us, keeps us grounded. Taking the time to understand Philotimo and how that influences our decisions and our friendships is key to understanding the happiness and joy in our life. How others are receptive of our actions and feelings and beliefs. Have more Philotimo. Seek it out. Understand it. Know it. Do good. Be a good person. Seek the good in others. Even help when we receive nothing in return. Just for the fun of it. My own life has been enriched greatly because of the Philotimo I have experienced in this church. The love and kindness and generosity of this church is amazing. It's what keeps me going. The big question is why not? Why not be a good person? Why not help others? Why not love others unconditionally? What would we gain from it? Everything. We as ourselves always seek to be loved. We want to be accepted. We want to have peace in our heart, and we desire that so. But we can't attain that if we ourselves are not exuding the very virtues that we seek. Be present. Be willing to cast aside negativity. The absolute expression of Philotimo is where your self-interests are very little, and you just can't wait to go and serve others. You can't wait to help someone out, even if it's your last $5. If you see someone hungry, you feed them. You just can't help it. It's fun. It's a part of who you are. Jesus was the absolute embodiment of Philotimo. He helped others regardless of class and social status. He gave knowing he would receive nothing in return. But he showed us exactly what Philotimo was and what it looked like. We also can remember the story of the Good Samaritan. Weren't they showing Philotimo? Transcending across different beliefs, knowing that this person was kind of opposite of they didn't like each other or whatever reason, but they showed Philotimo love and kindness, compassion, caring, helping, non-judgment, knowing that this is what we should do. So I give you this. Every day when you wake up and when you go to bed, strive to raise your vibration and raise your awareness and do good because it's the right and fun thing to do. Namaste.